Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The Prime Minister defends his administration's handling of Grand Bahama.
The Crown calls its next witness in the Frank Smith trial.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. At least 20 prospective buyers are eyeing the Grand Lucayne Resort, and 7 of them are very serious, according to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who visited Grand Bahama today for the island's annual tech summit. Minnis once again defended government's decision to shell out $65 million for the resort and dismissed critics' assertions that his administration has failed Grand Bahama. Jared Higgs is in Freeport and filed this report.
Speaking to the press for the second time in 2 days, Minnis told reporters in Grand Bahama that the Grand Lucayne deal is advancing, and he also hinted at a new investment for the island. Commenting on the controversial decision to purchase the storm-damaged Grand Lucayne Resort for $65 million, Minnis says buyers are lined up and employees accepting voluntary separation packages can expect to receive what they're owed.
My understanding that at least about 20 groupings that are showing interest, and about 7 looks very serious. So the committee that's dealing with it, they will aggressively pursue, but we want to ensure that whomever purchased the hotel would have the funds to carry it forth to the future and in the vision of the Bahamas.
The government purchased the resort by paying $35 million up front, followed by a government-guaranteed 5-year mortgage for the balance. It was revealed that a further $38 million would be needed to repair the resort's 3 properties, which were ravaged by Hurricane Matthew 2 years ago.
How are negotiations going in terms of the lawyers for the frontline workers and the government?
I have not been intimately involved in that. We have a particular committee, but they know that they must follow the laws of the Bahamas, and under no circumstances are we to compromise or marginalize any Bahamian.
Another controversial project, a deal for an oil refinery and storage facility with Oban Energies, has been placed on the back burner. The proposed project was marred with concerns, including a lack of an environmental assessment prior to the signing of a heads of agreement for the project. And while Minnis also hinted at a new investment for the island, he remained tight-lipped on the details.
We have a great project for Grand Bahama that hopefully we will announce very soon. I won't give a commitment, a date, because the press will hold me to that. But very soon we'll announce a very great project for Grand Bahama that I think will assist in projecting Grand Bahama forward.
Are you willing to say whether that new project is a tourism project or
I'm
a
not
tech
going to
project?
say anything.
While expressing optimism for the future, Minnis admitted that Grand Bahama's economy has struggled, likening recovery efforts to turning around a freight ship. Pine Ridge MP Frederick McAlpine said recently the Minnis administration has not done one single thing to improve the lives of Bahamians since coming to office in May 2017. Asked by a reporter how he would respond to criticism that not enough was being done to improve conditions on the island, Minnis insisted that he was focused specifically on Grand Bahama.
Grand Bahama has had a stormy time. Grand Bahama was in a recessionary period even before the world entered the recession. And we have been working very aggressively, concentrating especially on Grand Bahama. My heart is more with Family Islands and poverty. That's like I concentrate solely on that. And Grand Bahama is included in that because I know what you've gone through for the past 20-odd years.
Grand Bahama's unemployment rate sat at 12.4% back in July. That's 2.4% higher than the jobs figure on New Providence, which stood most recently at 10%. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
All right, thanks, Jared. Well, one day after uncomfortable conditions in the magistrate's court resulted in a venue change, the Frank Smith trial resumed today in the chambers of the Industrial Tribunal. As Jillian Gray tells us, the video of Smith's police interrogation was played in court.
In a police interrogation video that was played during his bribery and extortion trial today,
Former Public Hospitals Authority Chairman Frank Smith remained steadfastly evasive when a policeman asked him if he knew cleaning company owner Barbara Hanna. On 3 occasions, Smith avoided answering directly whether he knew the woman who alleged that she paid him $5,000 monthly after he helped her company to get a contract to clean the critical care block of Princess Margaret Hospital. Investigating Officer Superintendent Yule Johnson, who continued his testimony today, arrested Smith on July 19, 2017, and questioned him regarding the bribery and extortion complaint in the presence of his attorneys Damian Gomez, QC, and Philip McKenzie. Smith, who gave mainly monosyllabic answers to Johnson's questions about whether he demanded bribes from Hanna or assisted her in procuring the contract, artfully avoided answering the following question directly. Do you know Miss Barbara Hanna? Smith replied, I know a lot of Barbara Hannas. Johnson followed with, do you know the owner of Magic Touch Cleaning Company? That's the Barbara Hanna I'm talking about. Smith said, do you have a picture of Miss Hanna? Can you be more specific? After the video testimony was played, the Crown questioned Johnson as to when he received the call records. Johnson initially answered July 20th. However, he later said it was the 25th of July after he had a chance to view the case file, due to prompting from prosecutor Edward Jenkins, who noted that it could not have been the 20th because the call logs ended on the 22nd. Under cross-examination, defense attorney Keith Knight asked Johnson if he investigated Hanna's claims between the 19th, when Smith was questioned in relation to those claims, and the 20th, when he was charged. Johnson initially said an investigation does not happen over 1 or 2 days, and that he was conducting an investigation at the time. When pressed further, he said it was not his job to determine if someone was guilty or not. And over his investigation, he received information from the Registrar's Office, Public Hospitals Authority, and Bahamas Telecommunications Company, which corresponded with Hanna's claims. When asked if Smith's signature was on the contract received from PHA, Johnson said no. Knight then asked if Johnson was claiming that the contract corroborated the particulars on the charge sheet. Johnson said no. Now, the Frank Smith trial resumes tomorrow morning here at its new location at the Industrial Tribunal building. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Well, despite National Security Minister Marvin Dames' assertion that missing pilot Byron Ferguson did not file a flight plan ahead of his ill-fated flight to Nassau last Thursday, there is now confirmation that Ferguson did in fact file one. Operations investigator in the Air Accident Investigation Department, Kendall Dorsett, says investigations revealed there was a flight plan on file for the Piper Aztec and that Ferguson was the sole occupant of the aircraft. The incident has also raised questions over lighting at Family Island airports, as Ferguson reportedly had to pass 2 airports but could not land. Aviation Minister Dionisio de Aguilar couldn't say for sure that all airports are equipped.
Well, there are 28 airports, so forgive me if I don't know if every single one of them has not only lights, but all the lights are working. So I remember being informed by my predecessor that every single airport had emergency lighting. Now, I have found in my time at being in this ministry that there are sometimes you go to an airport and some of the lights are not working. So I think all of them have been equipped. Whether they're all 100% working, I'll have to get a report on that.
To date, the 34-year-old pilot and the 6-seater Piper Aztec are still missing. In the moments after the crash, Defense Force crews reported spotting a portion of the plane, but eventually called off the search for the night. When they returned Friday morning, they were unable to find the wreckage. The aviation minister was asked to outline the procedure whenever a distress call is made to air traffic control.
Well, I think they contact air traffic control, and air traffic control then reaches out to the particular airport. In some airports, obviously, there's no one there, so they have to call someone to get in their car to go down and turn on the lights. So that is just the Family Islands.
The world's largest cruise ship, Symphony of the Seas, sailed into Bahamian waters today, bringing 5,000 passengers with it. Royal Caribbean's latest and boldest invention is a foodie's fantasy, offering high-end dining and endless entertainment. Today, government officials boarded the ship to celebrate its inaugural visit. The sweet sounds of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force band ringing through the air signaled the inaugural visit of Symphony of the Seas, Royal Caribbean International's newest and biggest ship. Nearly 1,200 feet long and equipped with 18 decks, Symphony of the Seas brought some 5,000 guests to the port of Nassau this morning. The ship has the capacity to carry 6,680 people.
So what you see here really is the flagship of Royal Caribbean, which reflects 50 years of designing, building and operating cruise ships all over the world that makes us the world's largest single cruise line, Royal Caribbean International. And of course, our focus has always been and always will be on delivering great vacations.
Michael Bailey, president and CEO of Royal Caribbean International, said the Bahamas has proven to be one of the greatest destinations in the region for the cruise line. But he said there is still room for improvement.
You have almost everything you need. You've got stunning, beautiful islands that everybody wants to go to. You have warm, friendly, beautiful people who are always approachable and friendly. There are just some additional things that need to be thought through in terms of the actual experience and some of the infrastructure issues that makes it easier for people to travel around.
He called Symphony of the Seas the best of Royal Caribbean. And come next May, the ship will begin visiting Perfect Day at Coco Key, a new destination where officials say all paths lead to adventure. On the ship, the activities are endless. As for the technology, well, I'll let the robots at the Bionic Bar do the talking. The ship was built in France and has numerous highlights, from its central park to the slides, pools, and sports zone. Bahamans and visitors soaked up the sights and sounds during the inaugural ceremony, including Tourism Minister Dionisio Biagli.
This ship is awesome. I have never seen anything like this in my life. You can never get bored. I don't think 2 days is enough for you to walk this boat, let alone go on a cruise. So obviously it has a lot for people to do.
Well, amid growing tensions between downtown straw vendors and the Straw Market Authority over rental arrears and the seizure of delinquent vendors' goods, leaders of the Progressive Liberal Party embarked on a fact-finding mission inside the downtown straw market today to hear vendors' concerns firsthand. PLP leader Philip Davis says he is very concerned about how vendors are being treated by the government.
We recognized or saw where dumpsters were being used to carry products of vendors, and I'm told that they were being dumped, which we wanted to find out the reasons for it. We advised that some of the vendors were delinquent. These goods were apparently seized and without any further notice, just dumped. We would have thought that the manner in which to deal with these things is to talk with these vendors.
Last week, some vendors claimed their goods were thrown away because they are behind on payments. Government officials have said some vendors haven't paid rent in years. Irene Roll, who has been a straw vendor since leaving school, says she wants the new Straw Market Authority gone, asserting the market is filthy. Vendors are forced to work in darkness, and annual events have been canceled.
How would you describe the government's treatment of the straw vendors?
Terrible. Very bad, very small, very small. Terrible. This new board, where is Mr. Simmons?
Making no money right now.
Where is he?
I ain't even making $1 yet.
Because he need to know, since he is no more the chairman, that board will be, listen, I hope after the day they got to go. Every one of them. Get out!
Davis called on government officials to be more lenient with vendors in light of the rising cost of living.
With 12% VAT, with the increase in electricity, bills are being poured upon them. And so there is this challenge that they have to work through. So one would have thought that a government who cares about people, particularly the straw vendors, who are the backbone, I say, of our tourism product.
Please, if you can, the only way we can do anything is give us an opportunity, and that's all we ask, is an opportunity to try to make an honest dollar.
Still to come, a PHA agreement with nurses regarding a shift system turns out to be non-binding, plus how government is addressing airlift challenges on Grand Bahama. Stay tuned.